Hello, beautiful humans. This is a heartfelt practice. One of those practices that invites expansion and spaciousness into the chest, the shoulders, the upper back, and creates space, or if you like, brushes the cobwebs away for the light to radiate outwards and also shine in to the heart space. The invitation is for us to carry warmth and goodwill with us into our practice today, and always choosing the most loving option for you. So if that means adding or subtracting something, modifying, please feel free to do so. That's perfect. I'll see you on the mat. Okay, so let us begin on hands and knees, all fours to start with. And we'll just have the knees about hip width distance apart. And actually I feel like that was a little bit of a trick direction for you, because actually what we're going to do is tuck the toes under and start to sit the hips back towards the heels for a toe stretch. If this is too much for you, you're welcome to stand up on the shins instead. So let us start by awakening the tendrils of the heart, if you like. So let's start with the wrists. I always like to think of the arms and the hands as coming directly out of the heart space. So beginning to circle the wrists here. And if you think about it, we do actually use the arms and the hands as extensions of the heart, don't we? We hug people into us, draw them into us, into our embrace with our arms. And now let's bring the circles into the elbows too. So circling wrists and elbows. Doesn't need to look like mine, it might look a little bit different, that's fine. And then let's bring this into the shoulders. Circling the arms, circling and awakening and movement, really, swirling in and awakening the heart space. And now I imagine that for our toes that might be starting to feel like that's enough. So let's release the arms down alongside the body. Use your hands on the mat to support you if you need, and we'll come over onto the soles of the feet and sit down in a squat. Take a moment here, and when you're ready, lift the hips, fold forward into Uttanasana. And if that was a little tricky for you, for whatever reason, maybe you have tenderness in the knees at the moment, that's okay. We'll just meet you here, Uttanasana, standing forward fold at the back of the mat. And as you let the spine drape forward, I always like to imagine that the heart is just dripping down towards the head, towards the crown of the head. And you might let the head go a little, nod or shake the head. Circle one way, circle the other way. Let it feel loving and filled with warmth and goodwill towards this body-mind instrument that you are in. And from our Uttanasana, let's start to walk our hands forward into downward facing dog. First downward facing dog of our practice. Take another breath or two in down dog. Feel free to move, bicycle through the legs, sway the hips side to side, make little wriggles or adjustments. Still arriving in the practice. And take one more in-breath here. And on the out-breath, step your right foot forward between your hands. We'll frame the front foot with our hands today. And if you prefer to use blocks, you can have your hands up on blocks. That's perfect too. We'll bring our awareness to our anchoring points for now. So front foot presses down, ball of back foot presses down, and hands press down into the mat or the blocks. So grounding beautifully so that then we can press the mat away and draw the heart space forward beyond the top of the mat. Take an in-breath here. And then as we exhale, gently lower the back knee down onto the mat or a folded blanket, and we'll bring both hands up onto the front thigh. If it feels good for you today in the hips, you can let the hips be a little heavier and lower. Then we'll bring the hands to Anjali Mudra in front of the center of the chest, in front of the heart space. And again, it's the same idea of using a groundedness to produce a levity. So the front foot presses firmly down as though it's pressing the mat away as we lift the chest and maybe gently lean back. And keeping the front foot pressing down, reach the arms behind you, interlace the fingers, reach the knuckles back and down. There's a spreading open of the front of the chest and across the collarbones. One more in-breath. And then we'll exhale, release the hands to the mat. And let's step back to downward facing dog. Take an in-breath. And one more time as you exhale, left foot steps forward between the hands. And this is important, especially for what we're going to do later on. So front foot presses, back foot, ball of back foot presses down, fingertips or hands anchor. Press the mat away with your foundation and then draw the chest forward. Gaze can follow that too. Gazing gently forward, onto the floor beyond the top of the mat. Take another in-breath. And as you exhale, back knee lowers. Hands to front thigh, and hips can melt a little forward and down. Lift the hands, fold the palms. And press the front foot into the mat to create that levity, to create that lift of the heart. Gently leaning back. Reach the arms back. Interlace the fingers the other way if you can remember. And reach the knuckles back and down. And it's easy to be aware of the front of the chest here, but also feeling the two shoulder blades squeezing in towards one another on the back. Aware of the space beneath the armpits and the side ribs. One more in-breath. And then we'll exhale, hands to the mat and step to plank pose. Take an inhale and plank. Exhale to slowly lower. Inhale, cobra pose, getting a little higher if you like. And exhale, back to downward facing dog. On the next in-breath, raise the right leg. Turn the right hip over the left hip. Bend the knee, let the heel drop. Twisted three-legged dog. Take another inhalation. And exhale, right foot steps forward between the hands for warrior two. So pivot the left heel in and down onto the mat. Lift the torso, rise, reach the arms. Meeting you in warrior two. And again, starting with our foundation. If you like, come with me and imagine that our legs are like springs that begin all the way at the base of the heart, actually. So they give us this beautiful groundedness for a levity in the upper body. The back arm, our left arm, let's reach it behind us. It might just come round to the side waist, or maybe the fingertips can hold the top of the right thigh. And there's a sense of keeping that right thigh really anchored as we now reach the right arm up and back for reverse warrior. So opening through the right side of the heart. And next in breath, straighten through that right leg. Reach through the right arm as you tilt the pelvis forward. And we'll come into Trikonasana. Hand to thigh or shin if you need today. Or if the hand can go on the floor, place it on the floor outside the leg, but also not right up against the leg, a little bit further back. Step the hand back a little if you can. And reach that top arm. Not worrying about needing to open the top hip or anything like that. You can just let the top hip do what it's going to naturally do. But now with the bottom hand on the floor, a little bit further back behind you, leaning gently back into that hand as you reach up through the top hand and open the top shoulder upwards. So a slight variation on Trikonasana, triangle pose, beautiful ones. And as you lean back, you might gently press the pelvis and the hips forward. One more in-breath. And then we'll exhale, bend the right knee, place both hands on the mat, step back, downward facing dog. And from down dog, choosing the most loving option for you. That might be staying in down dog. It might be taking child's pose. Or inhale, rock forward to plank pose. We'll skip Chaturanga Dandasana today and come straight into upward dog. So coming over to the tops of the feet, lower the pelvis through space. Tops of thighs are still lifting away from the mat. Hands pressed down to create that lift of the heart, the levity there. And then when you're ready, bend the elbows, lower the tops of the thighs and the front of the pelvis onto the mat. Pause in cobra pose. Take an in-breath. See if you can grip the mat gently with the fingertips and pull back. And then as you exhale, release and make your way back to downward facing dog. Second side, left leg rises behind you. Let that left hip turn up over the right hip. Bend that top knee. Allow the torso to swivel a little here so you can let your right shoulder drop a little. That's okay. And when you're ready, exhale. Step through warrior two, second side. Back heel to the mat. Rise and reach the arms. Coming back to our spring-like legs, beginning right at the base of our heart and traveling all the way down into the mat, giving lightness, levity, expansiveness to the heart space as we reach through the arms. Right arm, back arm reaches behind. Little half bind here. And there's an anchoredness to the front thigh as you reach the left arm up and back. Keep your little half bind with your back arm, straighten through the front leg, Trikonasana. Tilt the pelvis over the left leg. Hand can be on the leg and that's totally okay. Or hand, if it comes to the floor, stepping it a little further back behind. My hand's actually coming all the way off the mat. Reach the top arm when you're ready. And use that broader base with the hand to lean into the hand. Lean the chest back. Turn the chest gently upwards. And press the hips gently forward. Nothing forceful. One more in-breath. And exhale, rebend the left knee, plant the hands, and step back, down dog. Last downward facing dog. Lower the knees to the mat. Sit the hips over to one side. Let's come and lay down and practice a delicious twist. Start by laying on your right side. Lay all the way down on the outside of your right hip. Bend the knees. Left knee stacks on top of right knee. Thread the right arm underneath so it's reaching out perpendicular to your mat. You might lay your right ear all the way down, or maybe there's a little cushion nearby you can place underneath your right ear. Bring the hands to prayer. So my hands are probably out of shot right now, but the left hand's on top of the right hand. And then reach the left fingertips a little bit further away. Slide the left fingertips off the right hand, and then open that top arm up towards the ceiling, and then all the way over towards the left. So my couch is in the way here, but you might travel a little further than me, but there's absolutely no expectation for the back of your left shoulder to come onto the mat. It probably won't actually. The left knee stays stacked on top of the right knee, and this is just a beautiful supine twist that really nudges and brushes the cobwebs away, more in the upper back, the thoracic spine. And taking perhaps another in-breath, and as you exhale, gently closing all the way back up again. Use your arms to gently sit yourself up, and we'll move to the other side. So just flip yourself over in whatever way is easeful for you. Laying on the outer edge of the left leg. The left arm comes onto the mat perpendicular to the mat. Left ear rests on the mat. Right hand on top of left hand. Reach the right fingertips away and open the right arm up. It's maybe like you're opening up your favorite novel, favorite book. Starting to invite a quality of softening, melting, letting go of any efforting. One more breath here. Next exhale, gently closing back up again. Let's make our way to just roll onto our backs. Choosing Baddha Konasana with the legs, soles of feet together, knees wide, or constructive rest, knees bent, feet wide, knees draping in toward one another. I'm going to bring one hand to heart and one hand to belly today. You might do the same. Allowing the awareness now as you arrive in whatever still shape you have chosen to travel down, 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 out of the head, into the space in the center of the chest, allowing the awareness to rest there in wherever feels like the heart space for you. Perhaps you feel the movement of the breath there. Perhaps there is softness, receptivity, openness, no right or wrong way to experience the awareness blossoming open in this space. And allowing yourself to rest here as long as you might need or as long as you can today. Thank you for sharing a lovely practice. Peace, peace, peace.